Chester and Gus by Cammie McGovern. Never run away again. I don't understand. I lick Gus's hand because I know he doesn't want me to lick his face. When he still doesn't wake up, I get so scared, I lick his face. Nothing. Miss Winger doesn't understand either. She calls for help on her cell phone and has to answer questions for the person on the other end. I don't think he drank anything in here. I don't see any evidence of that. He's unconscious, but he's breathing. The ambulance is coming, Chester, she says when she's done talking on her phone. You did a great job, didn't you? You knew he wasn't outside. Can you wait here for a minute with him while I get some help? She doesn't leave for long, but while we're alone, I talk to Gus. I'm so sorry I ran away. I won't ever do it again. I promise. We'll practice every day and I'll never run away again. I don't know if he can hear me. If he can, he doesn't say anything. Pretty soon, Miss Winger is back with Mr. McGregor. Oh, poor boy, he says first, then into the black box he usually wears on his belt. Have we got someone outside to tell the paramedics where we are? Miss Winger holds Gus's hand while we wait, which he ordinarily doesn't like, but I think it's okay now because he's asleep. You should know that Chester is the one who found him, she tells Mr. McGregor. I thought Gus was already outside. Chester forced me to come this way and look in this closet. If he hadn't been here, it would have taken another 20 minutes to find him, maybe longer. There's a sound up the hallway. Mr. McGregor steps out of the closet. Back here, he calls to two men who wear uniforms and are pushing a rolling bed. After that, there's a lot of commotion. Two men lift Gus up and strap him into a bed that has wheels on the bottom so they can roll him outside. I follow them out to a big white car. After they've got him inside it, one of the men looks at me. Does this dog belong to him? I can tell Mr. McGregor isn't sure what to say. Yes, he's not an official service dog, but he works for this boy, yes. He found him just now. We can't bring a service dog with us unless there's someone at the other end to take charge of him. All right, of course. Then he'll stay here with us. A few seconds later, the truck door is closed. Another loud pulsing noise stabs my ears. I do everything I can not to run away. I tell my legs that Gus needs me to stand right here. I tell my legs, look what happened just now when you got scared and ran away. You're a good dog, Mr. McGregor says. He's nice enough to bend down and pet my head while the noise moves away from us. His parents will be at the hospital to take care of him. Don't you worry, he'll be okay. That makes me feel better. Why don't you come inside and stay with me? I'm sorry about all this, laddie, but we'll get you sorted out. I'm not sure who laddie is or why he's calling me that. By the time Mark picks me up from Mr. McGregor's office, I feel like I've been there for hours, and my nerves are raw from the sound of the telephone ringing all the time. Mostly, I haven't listened to any of his conversations, but I did listen when I heard him ask the other person how Gus Stevenson was doing. Very good. Okay, thank you so much then. The door opened and the security leaned in. What did the hospital say? Yes, they've confirmed it was a seizure, and they've admitted him for some monitoring. He never been diagnosed with epilepsy in the past, but they think he's had 3 or 4 seizures in the last few months. I wonder if seizures is another word for having accidents. His father will be here in an hour to pick up the dog. Is this really Chester's last day? The secretary asks. I'm afraid so. It's a shame, especially after what he did today, but I haven't got a choice really. She shakes her head. Such a sweet dog. We'll all miss him, won't we? Except for Pauline, I'd say yes. That's right. Except for Pauline. How to worry more. Gus doesn't come home at all that night. Sarah comes home late in the middle of the night. She turns on the kitchen light quickly where I'm sleeping and turns it off again. Sorry, Chester. Don't wake up. That's all she says. I don't know where Gus is or if he's going to be okay. Earlier, Mark came home to give me my dinner and take me for a walk. While he was home, he made a few calls and told whoever he was talking to that they didn't know too much of the story. Presumably, Gus ran into the custodian's closet to get away from the fire drill, and something in there, one of the chemicals in the cleaning agents maybe, triggered what he called a grand mal seizure. They have to keep him in the hospital for observation. Right now, they've got him hooked up to machines to see if he has another. You can imagine how much he hates that. The poor guy had to be sedated before they could attach the electrodes to his head. The only thing I know about hospitals is that Penny's father died in one. It had something to do with his heart. She went to the hospital one afternoon, and I didn't see her for a whole day. When she finally came home, she was very sad. All night, I have trouble sleeping. I exhaust myself so much I didn't even wake up the next morning when Mark and Sarah leave. Instead of our usual morning routine where they eat oatmeal and make jokes, they're gone when I get up and my food bowl has my breakfast in it. It's a terrible feeling, eating food you haven't watched them fix. I don't even feel like eating, except after a few hours I do. Later, Cora, a neighbor who is scared of dogs, stops by to let me out. She thinks she needs to keep me on my leash even though we're standing in our fenced-in yard. I feel so silly I have a hard time peeling. Eventually I do. Instead of saying good dog or telling me how my family is doing well, she says, "Finally!" and brings me back inside. Home again. Mark and Sarah don't come home again until just before dinner. I'm so happy at the sound of the car in the driveway, I run around downstairs carrying one of Gus's shoes in my mouth. "Oh, silly dog, put that down," Sarah says. She's in a good mood, I can tell, because she bends down to hug me. "He's home, Chess. They let him come home." I notice she doesn't say he's okay. Maybe that doesn't mean anything, though. I also notice he doesn't eat dinner with them that night. "He's so tired," Sarah keeps saying. "The doctor says it'll go away once he's used to this new medication. It's just hard to watch him sleep all the time." From their dinner conversation, I learned a few things. Apparently, Gus has been having seizures for a while. So far, they've been little ones that make him zone out and sometimes wet his pants. He's probably had headaches that he hasn't been able to tell anyone about. Maybe other issues, blurred vision, confusion. They think the fire alarm made him panic and triggered a bigger seizure. This is as much as I understand. They talk about medicines and side effects and a special diet. Sounds like they're saying no cardboard at all, or very little anyways. I don't understand until Mark says it again, sadly. Oh, poor Gus, he loves his carbohydrates. Sarah talks some more, mostly saying there's a lot they don't know and they'll have to wait and see. "So that's it," Mark says. "They send us home with 2 prescriptions and we wait to see if it happens again." "The hospital says he has to stay on observation by a nurse trained in seizure protocol for the next 2 weeks. It's possible he's been having seizures every time he's had an accident." Sarah looks sad. She's not eating her food. "Which means he has to go back to school with a nurse who will stay with him the whole time, watch him for a seizure. I hate the idea of him having one more adult around him. Do you think the other kids see him as a strange boy who hardly talks and is surrounded by adults all the time?" Mark pats her head. "Yes, Sarah, I do. Not to us or his teachers, but to other kids who don't understand what he means with his squeals and his flapping. Yeah, he's a strange kid in the corner, surrounded by adults." Now Sarah's really sad. "Why does everything just keep getting worse? Having autism isn't hard enough, I guess. We have to have seizures on top of it, too." Mark comes over and puts his arms around her again. "One fight at a time," he whispers into her ear. "We take all of this one fight at a time." My bed. In the morning, I feel so nervous about Gus going back to school with a nurse at his side that I scoot up behind him and almost make it into the car before Mark holds his foot in front of the door. "Sorry, Chester. Remember the new rule? No dogs at school." I want to tell him, Gus doesn't need a nurse at school. He needs me. Sarah gives me a hug. "I'm so sorry, Chess, but remember, Mr. McGregor said you can't go to school with Gus anymore." She stands up. "Oh, look at him, Mark. He wants to go. He knows what's going on." Of course I do, I think. She knows I do. All day at home with Sarah is like being with Penny the day after I failed my tests. Sarah tries to work, but she's distracted and thinking about other things. Her computer's on, but she keeps coming into the kitchen where I'm laying on my bed. On our 3rd trip in, she lies down on my bed with me. "I wish you could be there with him," she says. "I just keep worrying that he's sad and alone." I want to tell her that Gus isn't as sad at school as she thinks he is. I remember what she said before school started, that she wanted him to find something that he loved. I wish I could tell her. He loves Mama. He loves the dish room. He might even love Amelia, or at least like her a little. But Mama is the main one. I don't think anyone knows this except me. They think he likes watching steam come out of the machine, which he does. But what he really likes is Mama. He likes the way she puts one finger between the plates as she loads them into the machine so they don't make a sound. He likes how she pulls the glass racks out at the other end. He likes how she says, "Hello, my boy. How you doing today?" It makes him laugh inside. He doesn't laugh on the outside because it confuses him to hear himself laugh. He doesn't like that sound, so he laughs inside. I wish I could tell Sarah he's not alone. He'll visit Mama today. She'll probably tell him it's good to see him again. She might not know about the hospital. She might say, "Where you been hiding, my boy?" And he'll rock and laugh inside at that. I wish I could tell Sarah it's not so sad, but I can't, or I do, but she doesn't hear me. For a while, it's nice lying together on my bed instead of hers. Then it gets a little uncomfortable, and she says we need to wash my cover. It doesn't smell good. That's where she's wrong. It smells great to me, full of memories and good times when I found dead animals to roll in. I hope she doesn't wash it, but she doesn't hear that wish either, because this afternoon I come back to my bed and my cover is gone.